I have 3 or 4 things to just briefly touch on with you all. But probably number one is, believe it or not, you all recognize who I work for, but the governor agrees with what Jeff was just talking to you about. And just a teeny there, he has been supportive of what has gone on with the creation of the Task Force on Indigent Defense, that we have standards for lawyers, that both in my boss's world, that really focuses in on the death penalty cases, and that we have also decent lawyers on their writs of habeas corpus. Because, you know, going to prison is one thing. Taking your life is a whole nother piece of business. And my boss is very supportive of the death penalty, but he believes that it has to be through a fair and just system. And he believes in a fair and just system. And I think we've had a lot of the issues that Jeff was visiting with you about. Topic number 1, public defender's offices. I know the task force is initiated, continued, I don't care what verb we're going to use, the establishment of public defender's offices. That is done as for a couple of purposes, and the idea of the economic benefits that it can do, especially in rural areas where you can end up with more qualified defense counsel because you have a bigger pool to draw from. Hopefully that they would be as well trained as prosecutors. And I'm not going to digress that far, but all of you all have seen prosecutors that are probably ineffective as well, for the same reasons that Jeff pointed out to you on the defense side. They don't prepare for trial. They don't do their job. But we got to keep working on the prosecutors, and sometimes in public defenders' offices that can really be a real focus there. You have a professional, somebody that is going to all the training, somebody whose daily job is getting ready on cases, not trying to manage a law office, except for one. The public defender's office is established out in West Texas on the capital cases. Hopefully, and since the head of that office is a old friend of mine, I think will also lead to more quality. Not that there are no lawyers in West Texas that know how to represent somebody in a defense case. It'll just make it much more easier to keep that floor level. So the governor is going to also be, if we can get the funds, then public defender's offices on a local desire. This is not some mandate coming down from Austin. I think as you see more of how effective they can be, you may see that it is a good thing for your county. In some instances, it may save you some money. In some instances, you may be at status quo. I do think that with public defender's offices, you may see some of your other funds for indigent defense decline, because you're supposedly getting a bigger bang for your buck, especially in being able to combine some of the tools. There's also another public defender's office that the governor would like to see established, and has worked on this for the last couple of sessions, and that is having a public defender's office attached to the Court of Criminal Appeals that would handle post-conviction death penalty writs. You in the world, the Article 11071 writs. I cannot tell you what it is like. That is one of the main part of my jobs. When you see the quality of work that comes through on those 11071s, it is close to disgusting. Some of them are very good. Some of them, it's true that they have cut and pasted from other work that they have done, and they don't even change the defendant's name in the pleadings that they are filing. The facts are not the facts of the case that is in front of the people. And I understand some of that may be because they think it's a very frustrating process. You're never going to get anywhere with that. Well, how do you know if you don't lay out what needs to be laid out? Okay? This is very troubling to the governor, because sometimes you can look at a record and go, not that this guy's going to walk maybe because he's innocent, but he probably didn't get a fair trial. And now he's had a bad lawyer on his writ, and that's going to get denied by the courts, and he probably should have had a new punishment hearing, just so it's all fair and right. I know that costs money, but if we're going to kill somebody, we need to make sure they have got the full level plate. I'm not talking about it every speeding ticket. I'm talking about these death penalty cases. We had one today that had a stay of execution granted, and there it was again. And so a public defender's office attached to the Court of Criminal Appeals. And this writ law stuff is, there's probably 5 lawyers, maybe 6, in the entire state of Texas that really do know writ law and what it needs to do, especially in a death penalty case. Because it's not like doing a direct appeal or a PDR. You've only got certain little isolated areas that you're going to be able to get into the courts on. So we do need to have some lawyers that are experts in preparing those type of writs. They would only be for the state habeas level, not the federal continuation on. That's up to the federal courts to manage their own world. But give them a fair shot. It's not probably going to result in any, it may result in some delay, but I don't think it's going to result in now everybody's getting off a death row. We do have, I don't know if you all know this, but we have like a tenth of the people coming into death row now than we did 10 years ago. We used to run about 45 a year. Right now we're at 6. So I think life without parole, and I'm not going to digress onto that, but some of the pressures are lessening. Well, so that money that the counties are having to pay out for these writ attorneys on those 11071, which as I recall is up to $25,000 a case, the state will pay that, and then the counties can supplement that. Y'all may never have to worry about that supplementing again, except on conflict cases if we have this public defender's office. It'll be up to that world to decide who's qualified and get people that have investigators, that have mitigation specialists, all right there. So not every individual county, especially the rural counties, are going to have to deal with that subject.